Hello.
Hey,
what's
good?
happening? It's your girl, Connie Robb, and my trusty right-hand woman.
The poetic, the prolific, D, the sheriff, however you want to do that. Work that out.
Boom. We're jumping right into the podcast. Welcome to Thought Castles. We are sharing with you today some very prolific topics or some questions. We have questions that beg to be answered.
I got a question.
We're going a little political today, but everybody get comfortable.
Let's all take an inhale, an exhale. This is a safe space.
Okay, so we're talking about what black folk deserve, why equality is still a conversation, and who's really cashing in on DEI. We acknowledge that this is a very complex topic, but this is going to be some honesty from our perspectives.
That's important.
So the first question, I'm going to pose it to you. What do black Americans deserve in this country?
Well, first, I'll say, I won't pretend to speak for every black American, but this black American feels like she deserves the freedom to express herself, exercise her rights, as within like the policies and such that are in place, and just fairness.
Okay. I'll come back with just to support what she's saying. We deserve safety and dignity in our daily lives. We deserve economic opportunity without systematic barriers. Yes. We deserve access to quality education, healthcare, and housing, and representation that isn't tokenized. Take that and do with it what you will. I said what I said. Okay?
You're not playing with them today, huh?
We coming straight out these Thought Castles. We busting them down.
Busting them down, brick by brick.
What do you have to say about what I said?
So I think that all goes into equity and fairness. Having access to the same types of resources, understanding that we all have different walks of life and we all start at different points, we all have different setbacks, and just having the best opportunity across the board for everyone is what, I feel like we all deserve.
I agree. We as a people living in this country, as black Americans, we deserve more than a Juneteenth ice cream flavor. Damn it.
The Juneteenth ice cream social. Because
we don't need that anymore. Forget those little pats on the head and barely acknowledgement.
Yeah.
The persistence in these disparities in wealth and political and education and healthcare is the difference between legal equality and lived equality. This is a myth. A myth about post-racial America. Come on now.
Okay. So, in terms of what we came to talk about today.
Yes, we're talking about a couple of things, but go ahead. Let's hone in.
I thought that we would bring some attention to the DEI situation.
DEI.
Given the trends with a lot of women leaving the workforce, a lot of women faced with the decision to kind of either focus more on childcare and home life or their careers.
Okay.
I kind of want to bring some attention to that because I think when we look at trends today, that is how these things still kind of show up.
Okay.
In post-racial, allegedly.
Post-racial America.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I have to say about that is if equality had been done right, we would feel it in our pockets. We would see it in our education systems. We would see it in our home ownership increasing. We would see it materialize in the form of generational wealth instead of generational disparity. Yes, I said in the beginning, this is a heavy topic, but roll with me. I want your feedback, but we're not at that segment in the show just yet. Let's go.
Okay.
Tell us what DEI stands for.
So,
for those that don't know,
DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is an initiative to ensure everyone feels included. It is centered around fairness and kind of leveling the playing field in terms of corporate America and things of that nature.
Okay. Why would we even have to legislate equality? Why would we need to do that?
Well, I want to make a very important distinction between equality and equity. Equality is saying that we all get the same thing, no matter what. Everybody deserves the same. And there is truth to that. But I think a more important distinction in equity is that we point out that fairness piece, because this now acknowledges that there are variables.
Yeah.
So the same for me isn't the same for you.
Absolutely.
But we can have, based on whatever my situation is, I could still have the same access to the same resources to get what I need to be successful in life.
Exactly.
So in terms of equity in the workplace, why it needs to kind of be legislated, it feels like, is because you go into the workplace facing the bias, especially as a woman.
Why?
The bias is already there. You know that it's there because they had to put something in place to address it.
Exactly.
So
we putting pig on lipstick on pigs. What are we doing? Are we just coming up with a DEI initiative so that your corporation can be number one with a bullet in your diversity initiatives? Because now that DEI is gone and has been done away with, we're seeing huge disparities in employment, in not just employment, in hiring. We're seeing huge disparities in maintaining jobs. I can remember a time when the DEI coordinator, now a black lady worked in HR. She was the DEI coordinator. Now she just the HR lady. She lucky to still be working.
Wow, that's crazy stuff. So I think what's important is, like, when you talk about the disparities in career, I think it's more like the stagnation, career advancement. I think that when it comes to, there's like no shortage of opportunities at entry level. There are like a lot of young people storming these jobs at entry level, crushing it, doing their thing. What DEI kind of provided was this roadmap, I think, and it kind of gave, I'll speak for women since we are women, it gave us this blueprint to navigate and hold the company that we're working for accountable. Because, hey, if I follow this roadmap according to these things,
boys and girls,
I have the same opportunities for advancement as my male counterpart.
Your male white counterpart.
Hey. So at middle management is where you start to see the stagnation and that kind of turning point in the career, because maybe at this point, you know, from entry level to now, you have a family, maybe you have more responsibilities, maybe you've acquired more and you want more out of life. And so this kind of gave us the structure we needed and the support we needed to not like go within ourselves and build those thought castles, but to externalize the issue and have something of a framework to help us make decisions and kind of like have autonomy in our career.
Okay, I'm following you.
Yeah.
Here's what I say. DEI, or here it is, DAMDEI. Damn DEI. Damn it. Diversity,
well, it's gone now.
And inclusion. We never needed it. If your bylaws, if your corporate policy has to dictate whether or not you will give my qualified ass an opportunity to improve your workforce, thereby improving the position your company falls in financially, that's your bad. That's where my thought castle is at. Your loss. We do need equality. But we don't need the word. We need equitable standards, equitable ways of life.
Straight up.
Like, I want my kids to live in good neighborhoods and go to good schools. And I loved when I worked in corporate America. It was amazing, rewarding, fulfilling. I made a lot of money.
But did you experience moments where DEI would have been more beneficial? You told me a story about how you did start an initiative at one point. Was you standing in, we don't have to go into detail about it, but you were standing in that space to be not just the HR lady, but to create a space, to create a moment for women with, their protected backgrounds and things of that nature. So,
well, what she's talking about is several years ago, I was working for a corporation, like I mentioned, and they needed to expand their diversity initiative because these greedy people like to eat. Every other week it was a potluck. Well, I wanted to expand their diversity initiative to include faith. Interfaith organization is basically what I called it. And what that means is you have to acknowledge that different people have values that are derived from their beliefs, their faith-based belief systems, and those are some of the things that make them tick. So if you have a Muslim coworker and you take the fork out of the pork and beans and you put it on the rack of lamb, he can't eat. You defiled the lamb. You defiled it. So I was looking to expand diversity in that area because it was exclusionary. Hey, if you're Muslim, fuck you. You don't get to eat. That's not right.
This is why I'm bringing this up to kind of like put a ribbon around the whole point. You had to take initiative to start the initiative because nobody else ever thought that there would ever be a need for it. So the reason why DEI is a big deal and it was so important is because it gave a language to something that we were never going to actually address or deal with, which is the bias that are present at various levels in the corporate world and in navigating any career path.
In life.
And I bring up women and women of color because we were the most, and we are the most impacted when we, I guess, dare I say, get the courage to face these corporate conglomerates and things of that nature and try to navigate their hierarchies. And I don't want to lose my point. It helped us kind of like, it was like our compass.
It was.
It served as a compass. Instead of walking in and kind of like into a game not knowing any of the rules, it kind of like, these are the rules. This is the safest way to play to get where you're trying to get.
But is that just a mask for equality? Are you telling my corporation that I have to hire a certain percentage of minorities, women, people of color, different ethnicities? I have to have a certain percentage of these people in order to operate or function as a corporation in America? Multinational, international, whatever, national. I have to do this. I need these people.
So I think what you're trying to say is that maybe at times it comes across as not actually being effective but more performative, like just kind of like something in place that nobody really actually adheres to. But we have it if they come and like do the inspection of like, what we got going on.
We have it in place.
We
check all the boxes.
So it's more of a box checking thing is what your experience has been.
Yes, it has been.
I agree with that.
That's why it's not a big deal to me that DEI was banished. Everybody was, Trump.
We had DEI.
We had DEI. It wasn't an issue for me because while I was a benefactor of it, being a woman of color, working in the corporate environment, and I know for a fact that it had a lot to do with my ethnicity and, of course, my education and my skills, but I still got into the role and had to work twice as hard as my white counterpart just to be considered as good as my white counterpart. We are running out of time, people.
No.
We really didn't do this topic enough justice because there were so many things we wanted to touch on. We thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening ear, your watching eye. We'll be back next week with part two of DEI and what do we deserve?
I don't know.
We'll find out next week.
Feel free to share any DEI moments you've experienced in the comments.
Please, we'd love to hear from you. This has been
Thought Castles.
Thought Castles.
Hey.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend.